Um, I was just gonna sort of have a broad stroke of conversation. Hopefully you can hear me okay. There's some traffic. But I was gonna do my best to try and give everybody the concept about how to be funny. Now, I recognize that every day there's some girl that finally is with a guy where her past dangerous boyfriends have sort of left her alone, and she's liberated. Happens every day across the whole world. And when this happens, this new door is open that wasn't open before. And she's feeling like she wants to be charming. She's already got the guy. She made a good first impression. And she's at his house and she wants to stay there. And she's wondering, like, what do I do? The pressure is on. How can I make him laugh? And the reality of the situation is that it actually is an art form. And it is a matured art form. There's, along the lines of comedy, there's definitely things you don't do. And then whatever's left on all the things that you don't do, that you're not supposed to do, ever, is the only place that's actual comedy. And if you're new, these things all right here are what this group call a dork or a moron, or are you just stupid? And technically it's kind of mean. And if you're only left with all of this because you're new, based on just being raised in an environment that had you sort of quiet or closed up, doesn't technically seem to me like you should be stigmatized with all of this if I can help you jump right to this area. Realistically, your first impulse, if you're very new, is incorrect. There is something that you should recognize called composure. Now, your first impression, just to give you a little bit of comfort, technically still has a very large grace period, and what you have, you get to keep the less you do. Guys are extremely shallow. And then when you think you understand how shallow they are, they're even more shallow than that. The only thing that they care about is that you're not as shallow as they are. Now, if they're composed and if they're professional and they're very organized and you're in their house, your only job is to be physically fit and very clean, and don't change in front of him. You just have to always have another outfit on. The concept of changing in front of him just deletes the entire illusion. Now, whenever you do anything, just do it. Don't talk about doing it. If you want to try out cooking for the first time, go in there and cook and wait for him to say, "What are you doing?" "I'm just trying out some cooking." And then if you wanted to, you could actually go get a little cookbook, and then just when he says, "Well, you should probably look online for some cooking lessons." "Oh, I went to the store and got a cookbook." Oh. Now, anytime that you think that you were a little bit mean or a little bit dry, isn't to a professional. To a professional, it means good. I have at least 2 hours where I don't have to worry about what she's doing. Guys can make thoughts out of thin air. It tells them, A, you're happy, B, he didn't have to supply you with an idea to take up your time, and C, he can do other things with knowing that you like it there. Same goes for any of the other things that you think that you want to do. I mean, technically, you could say, I wanted to build you a DVD collection. It's just like, then there's like a project here. And there's always the fitness room. Now, the fitness room doesn't technically follow the same rules as changing in front of them. Just ignore them. And every girl has their own personal preferences about what it is they do in a fitness room. So we'll just leave it at that. But as far as what we started this video to talk about, which was comedy, you can lose a guy faster than you can keep a guy if you just want to give it a try, give it a go. Now, it's going to sound kind of ironic, but a lot of comedy, whether you realize it or not, is based on Hollywood movies. Now, if technically you have 25 movies that you have seen and like and they're your favorite, you're going to reenact those movies around your boyfriend. Every time that you watch a movie, you know how when you open up a video game cartridge, there's that green board that you don't understand? Every time that you watch a Hollywood movie, you can imagine a green slate, lay it on top of your metal slate, and they will merge together, opening doorways here and closing doorways there. And you'll talk differently by the next day. If you were a quiet person and you only lived in the realm of B-rated movies, extremely crappy and scummy and low class, just to keep your eye on the prize, because every girl, they feel like if you stay sort of weird and dirty, that it'll rub off on your boyfriend and he'll get more attracted to you just because of the sleazy thoughts that you're thinking. So you raise yourself watching some B-rated movies because they're all wealthy, and then there's this kind of comedy. And the dumber you are, the easier it is to get this multi-millionaire. It's actually not what it is at all. Most of a millionaire's attitude is between here and there in the mathematical dynamics. Whatever you think that you know, you don't, if that isn't given 100% effort. You can basically not even think about acting like a moron or jumping up and down or smiling all the time, as long as when you don't do anything, your side view is a particular dimension. Doing nothing is a lot more than doing something. Now, I spent a lot of time last night watching a ton of Christina Aguilera music videos, and then I watched a ton of Hayley Williams music videos at the same time. And I felt like when I was watching the music video Genie in a Bottle for Christina Aguilera, that when she was doing all of her facial expressions and all of her smiles, and her smile that has her tongue sticking out, and her giggles and her shoulder dancing and then her hips moving, I told my phone, I go, I wouldn't even want to do the music video. I would storyboard it out and give it to a female, because I wouldn't survive. Now, with that in mind, you gotta imagine what a girl like that looks like that qualifies for everybody. Think about it, everybody at the mall, everybody at the park, everybody when you drive down the street, everybody. If everybody she qualifies for, then the only thing that she would want is, you know, a $10 million house that a guy owns, that wears a suit, and lets her walk around and do whatever she wants. And I mean contemporary, really modern style, dark grays and whites and grays and like fluctuations of those. And really, really nice stuff. Just walking around. A lot of quiet time. And then a guy that wears business suits and he travels the world. Now she can probably guess that he is a busy person, so he has a lot of things that he's doing. But it was kind of like the relationship when I was looking at these videos that I remember having with Jennifer. Well, Jennifer was a cheerleader, except when I met her, she had gotten in a fight with all of her friends. Her closet had all of these signatures on the inside from all of the people that have trafficked through her bedroom. She only had one brother. And by the time I met her after I graduated, she dropped out when she was a junior. And, you know, she got her GED later, but basically when I met her, it was literally months after this big fight. And I never saw her friends ever again. The whole time that I was there, I never met them. I knew of them in high school. But I remember thinking to myself, I have an idea about what it is you've done, but with a body like that, as long as you only care about what you don't want to do anymore, and you just like spending time inside the house, watching movies, laying around, a lot of quiet time, I really don't care. So because I had that as a personal bit of information, I was thinking Christina Aguilera is probably surrounded by people like this in the Disney and Hollywood business every day, all day. So why is she giving so much attention to the camera? I mean, every second you just get punched. Ow, ow. I mean, she's knocking everybody out. It's like, lay up, lady. Unless she's wanting to make a giant phone call to the multi-billionaire that has a really, really nice house to just be like a house kitten. Like, come on. Name the one other girl here that's 95 pounds and 5'2". I mean, she's not even traveling in the same type of body weight for how much she's scared. Throwing out those extra punches because this is the one opportunity that she has to say like, hey, hey. I mean, there's billionaires out there. This is gonna go world. It's MTV. So you can see her face when she sees the brunette guy. She's basically just slouching into her go-to mode. For a girl that was smiling seconds ago at the camera, sliding into her, so that's the guy I gotta do. Didn't look like she was too happy. He's just gonna want everything like she wants me. She's like walking in front of him. No, I don't. And by the way, for a millionaire, which I am, it's nice that we're all at a bonfire. Why don't you just petition for me to have all the broke guys to just get in position for the photographer guy, and I still don't get my suit in a multi-billion-dollar mansion. And so with that said, I wanted to sort of put it in perspective, a little bit of sort of fun to a comparison, because I was watching Hayley Williams and Paramore. Now, it's interesting because Hayley Williams, and this is going to be a difficult thing because I think that Christina Aguilera might actually admire a little bit of an approach like this, because I think that she has such a stunning effect on somebody face forward that you plan on telling her what to do, but she's so bubbly and happy, she smiles a lot and gives you that, like, I call it an ear check grin, that you're like, she really likes me. You forget what you were gonna say. Not only that, you forget what you're supposed to say, which is more important. Now, I was watching these Hayley Williams videos, and Hayley Williams has this approach to acting as very much lackadaisical. She basically says, in anything that you tell her during, because it's an acting coach. There are difference in acting coaches with Christina Aguilera because they all died, all of them, and an acting coach with Hayley Williams. This acting coach successfully got through to her, because here's the thing that I wanted to tell you on a personal note. Do you remember when I did that scene where I was staring out the window singing Boys to Men, singing Backstreet Boys and And-Sync? Remember at the school months ago? Okay. Every day since then, I've thought to myself, that was the stupidest thing I've ever done. I must have looked like a fucking idiot. Now, I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks I must have looked like a fucking idiot. And here's the reason why. Because you know how I'm talking to you directly, and all of my attention is on you, my concentration, my articulation, my concepts that I want to deliver, and it's a face-forward approach. It's a very difficult thing to think that your winning card is staring like this and then dropping your gaze into an introverted perception and getting in a dream world mentally and then talking or singing. And even though I've seen it done, it's an uncomfortable thing to do. Now, based on my own personal experience, without anybody coming up to me and telling me afterwards, man, that was so awesome. Not only would it be difficult, even if they said it, because saying it is because I wouldn't even believe them for how weird it is. However, the truth of the matter is, and this is for Christina Aguilera, the truth of the matter is, every second of Hayley Williams in anything that she does, with all of her very relaxed approach and never facing up the camera and always looking down like this and always like this and always never attentive, is the hottest thing ever. And I watched them all, except for the later ones. I mean, from the first video to like I don't know, like 6 videos. Everything. It's kind of like if the director says, in the mentality of it all, if the director says to do something, I don't know, I'll think about it. It was a winning attitude. Every time she doesn't want to stare at the camera. Every single time. I'm looking at her chin, cheekbone area, her nose. Wow, I mean, the symmetry is ridiculous. The eyebrows, it's a wow factor. It's just like, good God. Just the genetics. It's a fun thing to do. Now, for a sort of side reference to Christina Aguilera, and you're not going to get a single director in the world to agree with me, but if she's ever been wondering, like, what am I doing wrong? It's that speed. It's like, what am I doing wrong? It's that shoulder pump. It's the dragging the pelvis forward when you're dancing. It's the ear check smile. Everything is just like, it's too much. It hurts. But this is the situation of where the government doesn't have an understanding of this when they go into a government project like making a music video. Is that it's a girl that's scared because there's all these people that are bigger than her, and a director that doesn't understand the concept of less is more. And then when she says, so you want me to do this because I can? And he goes, absolutely. Are you sure you're willing to do that? Absolutely. I'm ready to hit this shit, because she's really ready to call this guy. But by the time this guy's still trying to manufacture his phone number route, they've managed to come out with a new video where she's wearing black hair and she's in the middle of the hood with no clothes on, with a guy with a hose spraying on her and shit. It's like, Never mind. Kind of see where it is I'm going with all of this.